On the far bank, pine trees stood like watchmen, their shadows stretching long and dark over the water. A thin boy trudged along the stones, his bare feet raw and aching. His clothes, patched and threadbare, clung to his thin frame, and his cap-shaded eyes that carried a loneliness far too heavy for his age. He was an orphan, drifting from one empty place to another, searching for food, for shelter, for a sign that the world hadn't forgotten him. That evening, hunger gnawed at his stomach and weariness bent his small shoulders. But something ahead caught his eye. By the water's edge, an old man stood, steadying himself with a carved wooden staff. His hair was long and silver, braided neatly down both sides. His clothes were fringed buckskin, worn but strong. Yet what struck the boy most was the elder's limp. One leg dragged slightly, as though the years and hardships had left their mark. The elder gazed across the rushing water with determination. But the river was merciless, foaming and roaring as if to warn him back. The boy crouched behind a rock, torn between fear and compassion. He can't cross that, he thought. If he tries alone, the river will swallow him. For a moment, he considered walking away. He was small, weak, and half-starved. What could he do against such a force of nature? But then another thought whispered, "No one else is here. If you don't help, he may die." His chest tightened. He had lost his parents to the same kind of merciless fate, and he could not bear to see another life swept away. Gathering his courage, the boy stepped from his hiding place. "Sir," he shouted above the roar of water. The elder turned, his eyes sharp but kind, as if he had been expecting someone all along. "You shouldn't go alone," the boy said, voice shaking but steady. "Let me help." The elder studied him in silence for a long heartbeat, then placed a weathered hand on the boy's arm. "Bravery lives even in the smallest hearts," he murmured. Together, they stepped into the rushing river. The stones were slippery, the water fierce, and each step felt like a battle against nature itself. But the boy refused to let go, gripping the elder's arm as though the strength of both their lives depended on it. And so it began, the crossing that would change everything. The current tugged hard at their legs, swirling with icy strength that could sweep a grown man from his feet. For the boy, each step was a test of will. His toes searched for solid stones beneath the foaming water, but often landed on slick surfaces that threatened to throw him under. He tightened his grip on the elder's arm, heart pounding in rhythm with the roaring river. The elder leaned heavily on his staff, his limp making each step slower. But his gaze never wavered. His face, lined with age and wisdom, seemed calm, as if he had crossed 100 such rivers before. Yet the boy saw the truth. The elder's leg trembled. His breath grew short, and without help he would surely have fallen. The boy's small strength became the lifeline holding them both against the flood. His thin body shook with cold. He nearly slipped, gasping as the current pulled at him like a living creature. Panic rose in his throat, but the elder's voice cut through the chaos. "Stand firm," the elder said, his tone steady and commanding. "Do not fear the river. Place your feet where the stones hold true. The water will always rush, but the earth below does not move." The boy clung to those words. He focused on the rhythm of searching with his feet, planting firmly before taking the next step. Inch by inch, they fought their way across. His muscles screamed, his lungs burned, but he would not let go. Somewhere deep inside, a stubborn spark burned brighter. He would not lose this battle. A sudden swell smashed against them, tearing the staff from the elder's hand. The man staggered, slipping dangerously. Without thinking, the boy threw his arm around the elder's waist, bracing against the current with all his weight. His thin body bent like a reed but did not break. For a moment, it seemed the river would win, but then the elder found his footing again, leaning on the boy with surprising trust. Step by agonizing step, the far bank drew closer. The roar of the water dulled as stones rose higher under their feet, lifting them out of the worst of the current. The elder turned his head toward the boy, eyes shining not just with relief, but with deep respect. He laid a trembling hand on the boy's shoulder. "Few men would have dared that crossing," he whispered. "And yet you are only a boy. The river tried to take us, but your courage carried us through." The boy's chest swelled with emotions he could not name: pride, relief, and something else he hadn't felt in years: belonging. He had not only saved the elder, he had proven to himself that he was more than an orphan drifting in the world. And though he didn't yet know it, this crossing was only the beginning. The boy lay on the riverbank, chest heaving, lungs gulping the cool evening air. His thin arms trembled from the strain, and his legs still quivered as if the current had left its echo in his bones. Beside him, the elder steadied his breath, his lined face softened by the glow of the fading sun. For a long moment, neither spoke. The roar of the river behind them was reminder enough of what they had endured. Finally, the elder broke the silence. "And yet you risked your life for me. Why?" The boy hesitated. No one had asked him such a question before, not with genuine care. He swallowed hard. "Because I know what it's like to be left alone," he admitted. "My parents, they're gone. I didn't want to see someone else taken. Not when I could help." His voice cracked, and he lowered his eyes, ashamed of the tears stinging them. The elder studied him closely, and instead of judgment, the boy saw only understanding in those wise, dark eyes. "Your heart is strong," the elder said. "Stronger than many men twice your age. The river tested you, and you did not falter. Such courage does not go unnoticed." He reached into a leather pouch tied at his side and drew out a small carved token, a piece of polished wood etched with symbols the boy did not recognize. Placing it in the boy's hand, the elder said, "This is not a gift, it is a promise. Keep it with you. Where we are going, it will speak louder than words." The boy turned the token over in his palm, feeling the grooves of the carving. It was more than an object. As the last light of day faded, the elder rose with difficulty, leaning once more on his staff. "Come," he said. "My people will want to meet the boy who carried me through the river. They will see what I have seen." The boy hesitated, his heart racing. To walk with this man was to step into the unknown. But the memory of the river gave him courage. He slipped the token into his pocket, stood tall despite his aching body, and nodded. "I'll come." Together, they left the river behind, their shadows stretching side by side as they disappeared into the forest. Neither knew what awaited them in the village beyond, but both felt the same truth stirring in their hearts. The crossing had bound them together, and somewhere deep in the boy's chest, for the first time in years, hope flickered alive. The forest grew deeper as they walked, the trees closing in like guardians of an ancient secret. Twilight painted the sky in shades of violet and silver, and the boy followed the elder closely, clutching the carved token in his pocket as though it were a shield. His legs ached, but something stronger than fatigue pulled him forward, the feeling that his journey was no longer his alone. After what felt like hours, the forest broke into a wide clearing. Wooden lodges, built with care and strength, circled a great fire that burned steady against the night. Around it, people gathered, men with bows and hunting spears, women with baskets of herbs. The moment the elders stepped into the clearing, the hum of life paused. Eyes turned, whispers stirred. The people saw the limp in his step, the weariness in his face, and then they saw the boy trailing behind him. Thin, ragged, an outsider. The children hushed. The men tightened their grips on their spears. A heavy silence fell over the village. The boy's heart thudded against his ribs. He felt their eyes pierce through his skin, weighing him, questioning him. For the first time since the river, fear threatened to take hold again. But before it could consume him, the elder raised his staff and struck it against the ground. The sound cracked like thunder. "This boy," the elder declared, his voice carrying with the authority of years, "is not what he seems. Alone, small, and hungry, yet braver than many I have known. When the river sought to take me, he stood against it. Without him, I would not be here." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Some nodded in quiet respect, others frowned in suspicion. One of the hunters stepped forward, his shoulders broad and his gaze sharp. "He is not one of us," the man said. "Why should we trust him? A stranger's courage can be a mask." The boy's throat tightened, but the elder placed a hand on his shoulder. "Trust is earned, not given," the elder said firmly. "And this boy has already earned mine." The fire cracked, throwing sparks into the night. The boy stood in the circle of their judgment, every eye fixed on him. Though his knees trembled, he lifted his head. And in that moment, though acceptance was far from certain, the first threads of destiny began to weave around him.